Hey guys, it's Kosi. Let me introduce you to our second Zero to Hero series we had during Season 2 of The War Within, which is not only beyond the Keystone Hero on the road to 3k, we also attempted to achieve the Covenant Rank 1 spot, not only as a demo log, but of all log kind, sorta. And because you love them, we're talking movie edition, so you can sit back, relax, and keep this on as some background noise while playing a game yourself. All the drama, the troubles, the setbacks, why Beastmaster Hunter are just the worst, and most importantly, how did we get the most insane garbage tanks you have ever seen? You will witness all of that in just a moment's time. With that being said, I'd love if we get this video to 250 likes ASAP, as it really helps out the algorithm with those long format videos, and you would just help me out a lot with that. So thank you, and if you don't want to miss any further uploads, you can also subscribe for totally free. So make sure you hit the 250 likes if we aren't there yet, get comfy, and enjoy the Zero to Hero 3k / rank 1 edition of your favorite dinosaur? Hey guys, it's Kosi.
Rough Productions proudly presents Zero to Hero. From the creator of Make Affliction Great Again, the aspect of the bussy dragonflight, calling people Muppets, and 0 to almost 3.5k Raider IO, comes the series you all been waiting for. The most requested character in the history of this crappy-ass YouTube channel, a fan favorite and one to finally bring back some juice after the boring-ass Brewmaster journey. Cause let's be honest, tank is too easy after all. Prepare your anus for a class that isn't a hunter, a mage, priest, shaman, rogue, fap knight, warrior, and damn sure neither beast master or augmentation. This dude will make you get excited so much that you need to explain to your girl why you're rock hard whenever he uploads. But not when she's laying next to you to give you the double-twisted gluck gluck. You asked for it, and you get it. Zero to Hero proudly brings to you the 3K Adventure, in which we answer all the important questions. Does the B and JB stand for baby oil? How much cuss could a cussy slayer slay if a cussy slayer could slay cuss? And how do you call a lesbian dinosaur? Be prepared to witness the rise of the guy who whispers to demons during the day and to your mama at night.
Many have requested it, so now your boy delivers. After getting spooned by every demo log we found in Dragonflight during the Affliction series, we now apply the old saying, if you can't beat them, join them. But first of all, I want to say two things. How about you like and subscribe for that insane intro, since I invested a lot more time into that than into finding my dad. Disregarding, before we go over the rules of this series like we usually do, allow me to invite you into a little detour towards the just recently finished Brewmaster series. Not only am I pleasantly surprised about the amount of you having an occasionally strong opinion about this pack, I was very happy that we could overall agree in this review as well. So I'm here to announce that I'ma do this for every character I'm doing a series on, good or bad. Yes! 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 An honest review to mention the things I personally like and dislike, to give everyone that potentially thinks about playing this pack themselves a fair and most honest point of view.
My man.
Now then, Demo Warlock seems to be in a pretty solid situation right now when it comes to Mythic Plus. Even though there are quite a few more destruction logs registered, I only see the Yeeter of Imps in my parties, and so I thought I'd finally give in and play a class that I personally always was a fan of, as well as a spec many of you requested over the past year and a half. Granted, I'm not naked when it comes to the experience of Demo Log gameplay this expansion, because I did this one run in Season 1 where my ass just got backseat gamed by you guys in the livestream, which means I'm pretty much a pro. In theory.
Okay.
In reality, I have no idea what's up. Apparently you summon a big manly man demon with an axe, doggies, the big doggy, another manly man demon on a big ass cooldown, plenty of cannon fodder sack nibblers, and then that big ass dude from Freerin that is considered OP, but turned out to be nothing but a glass cannon. Be that as it may, I was hyped for some action, and so while I show you some Mythic Zero in the back, let's talk about rules as well as goals about the series.
Okay, let's go.
First and foremost, it goes without saying that this is a full-blown puck adventure. We mostly play our own key, and then we apply to some, the good old-fashioned way. Second rule follows the same guideline, no friend list usage. I am mostly set to appear offline anyways in order to avoid any spoilers for anybody in my friend list, so that works out. Now, an exception here is a guild. I will obviously not join our community guild, but if the opportunity arrives to join a random one, I usually take that and try to see what's up. After all, the game should be enjoyed with a social construct of guilds, and every one of us can use that. Fourth rule will be gold. I'm quite against the idea of farming gold to get some items crafted in the future, but I got quite lucky with the weekly events I've been doing, so I'ma go ahead and assume that I'm set for the series, which means no external gold. Speaking of external stuff, no warbound items from my personal collection. I don't really consider this cheating as they are champion at max, but I'm too much of an addict, and so I'm just gonna get my starting gear up the old-fashioned way. And last but not least, no Radar.io collection, obviously. As mentioned, the goal will be Keystone Legend at 3k rating this time around, which I got mixed feelings about seeing how wonky most tanks play these days. Nonetheless, I am all up for it. Now with that out of the way, let me quickly drag your crusty ass through the gearing process I zoomed through after achieving max level. Siren Isle for a good start in item level and some irreplaceable ring to the end of the season. Good stuff. World Quest events, as 2 of them each week, will give you a random veteran piece of loot, which is really nice to start us off. Furthermore, I activated War Mode and farmed both World Quest as well as Sparks of War in order to purchase some PvP veteran items without actually doing PvP. But then came arguably the best source of items, Delves. Every week you're able to loot up to 4 copper keys that will grant you a guaranteed champion item level piece from a bountiful delve. And you can even get some extra keys from all the reputation quests you possibly enabled over time. Yet it turns out that plus 8 delves have a recommended item level of 630, which is not what I have. But luckily, Warlock is a pet class, and so I have no doubt that... That's gonna be a lot more difficult than I expected. It was only after I figured out that running into those little healing potions, brand drops, our big beefy boy, or short Triple B, also will receive healing.
You're joking.
What also helped was figuring out that the action button actually will handle the annoying mobs that are whooping my ass in here. Also, I made Triple B's frame giga big so I can keep track of its HP, and as soon as I got the hang of it, delves weren't an issue any longer. Now you can call me a cheater if you will, but I actually recorded the gearing arc during the week of the War Within Dungeon Weekly, which grants us a heroic raid item for free after completing 4 dungeons on Mythic. What can I say, man? I like some gambling, okay? And because I don't want to spend all video talking about the gearing, this is how it looks like before going into our first key. 636 item level, no tier set even though I killed a few bosses in LFR, and I got this super insane as well as unique item in my weekly. Hashtag no haste, hashtag no good. At least playing all the delves got me into a rotation a little bit. The core idea is to, well, have as many demons up as possible, as often as possible.
Thanks, Captain Obvious.
So you got 20-second cooldown puppies, 30-second cooldown big puppy, and 2-minute cooldown Felguard puppy? Your main cooldown, however, is your Tyrant, which is on a 1-minute cooldown. And this bad boy gets enhanced for every demon you got currently active, while also resetting their duration, which is especially relevant for all the big demons you got. So all the cooldowns line up proper, unless you just don't use them right away. This will easily be the most difficult thing for me to track in the future. Now, I'm not gonna lie, it took me a hot second to actually find a healer and a tank for this key, and my tip to you is, don't just invite 2 DPS. Always keep DPS slots open for potential 2-man stacks with either a tank or a heal present. At least 1 slot. But boy was the first pull worth the wait, as this was the moment where I realized that this spec will go ham to an insane degree once I got some gear and once I got the hang of the setup. Peaking at 7.5 million in the first key done is the stuff that fuels my addiction. Unfortunately, like me, reality came quick, and unlike me, it came hard.
Naughty, naughty.
Tank added Chewie in the mix, which was just, yeah, no bueno to say the least. Solid 12 deaths before the first boss, but it didn't end there. Boy, was this a struggle to say the least. The fact that we actually just tied it by +1 was something I didn't see coming at all, and yet we are rewarded for the pumpage. Champ shoulders, hell yeah. And while the pump was strong with me during this run, The Dark Flame Clef was about to tickle my competitiveness. 2 keys in and I was ready for my first lock off, and both started off strong. Yet once again, I fell behind, so I had to inspect him. Brother actually rocks the 4th set on 640 item level, that's crazy. I legit felt like I only won during one specific fight where he dirt napped and I was able to snipe the entire pack before he returned. Other than that, oh wait.
Another one.
And because this run went somewhat smooth so far, we had to make it spicy towards the end, cause why not? But don't take my word for it.
Whoa, calm down, Jamal.
Let it be explained by the words of our Mistweaver, who just had one constructive advice after the other in order to make this an enjoyable run at the end. Yet, as you can imagine with the struggle we had during the cannon minigame, the last boss was anything but easy. We wiped hard, and then I said I would do the cannon myself, non-stop. I was untrusting in all of us grabbing one every now and then. Turns out, they didn't. At least we still 2-chested and I was able to beat the other lock. Get shit on, kid.
I'm an adult virgin.
I'ma go ahead and assume that they didn't track the damage proper when I was dead during the card escort, but who cares? Your boy's on top, baby. Prove me wrong. I wasn't done here in my attempt to push the +6 keys as quick as possible, and so we continue with the Rookery +5 I had, which I completely forgot to record. Look man, it was a different day, okay? It happened. This is the moment that I realized it. However, the run wasn't anything special. 5 deaths and only a +1 in the end, so you know we went slow and steady for the most part. I guess we just take this dungeon for context for the +6 top I received from it. And boy, was this a special one. Firstly, I got a Hunter Druid combo applying by saying big damage. So of course I had to take them. Saying it's like swearing on your mama, so no way in hell that they're lying to me. But here's where I should have left instantly. I gave the Hunter lead because he got a higher rating and the guy invited a 615 Resto Druid because he said he has a 3k main. Which was true, I checked it, but it's still 615 item level with random ass gear. I would not trust in anybody to heal a +6 key with that, at least not in the pug situation. But let's come back to the second warning. Remember when they mentioned that they got big damage?
Yes.
Well, they didn't mention that they can't play mechanics and die to everything in their way. At least they were talking some shit though, I can appreciate that. But the fun part started in the Lich area of the dungeon. I simply refuse to understand why tanks use the right side of Portal in pugs. You always have to deal with casters that can one-tap a party member, and the amount of times the same mob gets kicked by 3 people is not even funny. So we got Bone Spear Texas style. And then all of us kicked the Bone Spear guy while nobody kicked the AoE Shadow Bolt. You could feel that things get a little bit heated at this point, but the funniest thing was the realization of this. My key was to the 6. I mean, we did time a +5 Rookery, remember? But here's what happened. Not gonna lie, I absolutely felt that it was a bit weird timing wise when I started the key, but I didn't bother to check. So somebody else sneaked their key in to potentially snag a quick free key upgrade without making the party themselves. But instead, they got a +4 top. Suck it, bitch boy.
You can't say that!
This was absolutely hilarious to me and I was happy I had this recorded. The Hunter told me afterwards that I shouldn't advertise a +6 key if I have a +5. I explained to him that I still have my +6 key and he legit asked, do you have resilient +6?
What's going on? What?
First of all, I don't even think that's a thing. Second of all, how in the world would I have a resilient +6 key if you just play the +5 and you think it's my key?
I don't know, Jeff.
So many questions. I didn't bother to check who had the top key when I figured out what happened, so I don't know who it was, but nonetheless, we still have a +6 key to go for. This one also was a promising start. I did make sure to check afterwards if this is my key this time though. I was also happy we were able to skip the first pack with the Demon Hunter, but the other Hunter had a different plan. However, I didn't use CDs this time, so I was ready to send it on the boss. Not even comparable. This run went so much cleaner as we ended on a solid +2 with 3 deaths or so, which only left me with one more duty for the week. The delve for the hero item. I had to do the stinkhole, which ironically is what they call your mama in high school.
Damn!
But what I didn't care to give any kind of attention was the time. But boy, was it worth it. I got the flippin' Funhouse lens, which funnily enough was the reason I wanted to stack up 3 vault slots for the delves. Hell yeah, baby. But because this marks the end of our first week of properly playing with the class, I will give you a quick glimpse of the vault. Because that thing was stacked. We got shit boots, shit cloak, shit offhand, shit trinket, and...
What the hell is even that?
Hey guys, it's Kussi. Welcome back to episode 2 of using our Tyrant to pimp out all of our nasty little imps in this 0 to hero Demo Warlock edition. In the last episode we went over the gearing process, had proof on why Demolock is a good spec to play, had an absolute banger of an intro, and we got incredibly lucky in our weekly hero delve item. We also had a funny little encounter of somebody trying to put in their key before I put in mine, which got him a juicy little downgrade. Stupid! Sucks to suck, brother. But of course, luck is a one-sided bitch. Wait, what?
Are you stupid or something?
So I also showed you my vault, which we're quickly gonna talk over in a hot moment, because today we are ready for all the upgrades. And that was part of it. And because we did get a +6 done before reset, we do end up with that exact key level in the vault, which means we are on track to farm hero items as well as crests very soon. Keep in mind, the goal this time is 3k rating, so we better get going. And while the pumping is strong within your boy, pause, playing mechanics is not. So without any further ado, make sure to grab a drink, get comfy, and enjoy episode 2, the road to the first checkpoint, Keystone Master. Alright, so before I show you what kind of upgrades we are having cooked up today, let's talk about the vault first. I mentioned all the wonky items I got in there. Some boots, some cloak, some trinket, and whatever the hell that is. But it's a headpiece. I know it looks like something Johnny Sins was wearing once in his life, but it's actually a hero headpiece which comes in super handy as of this week. We got 4 catalyst charges to spend. But before I just YOLO use all of my charges, I was smart for once. I did Gallywig's LFR for a potential token, which I yoinked super hard with that Net 20 WoW edition. And then I also did my weekly delve for another potential hero item in the set piece slot, which didn't happen. I swear man, this garbage trinket is just hunting me non-stop. But with that, I used 3 charges to get the 4th set we all want to have. But let's talk about this puppy and why is it so borderline insane in this season. While some sets this season seem to feel super clunky and weird, most caster sets are not that bad. All of our spells have a chance to summon a big Dreadstalker puppy that almost equals the normal 2, which is nice already, considering the damage they provide. Even more with the fact that during your Demonic Tyrant, this thing always procs, and with the fact that during your Tyrant, they are enhanced.
Wow.
And that's already a decent source of damage itself. But now comes the fun part. The 4th set has nothing to do with RNG. Every Hand of Gul'dan you cast will trigger a Dread Bite, which is AoE, from all your active puppy at a lower effectiveness, which just means less initial damage. Now, this tooltip is a bit wrong, as the base damage is not 50% effectiveness, but 20%. It doesn't really matter since the extra scaling per soul shard is still up there, and you won't use Hand of Gul'dan with less than 3 shards anyways. But the epicness doesn't end here. You see, Dreadbite itself usually only gets cast whenever you summon your doggies, so only once. But with you being able to trigger them manually, you also will keep on triggering the bonus 20% Shadow Flame damage it provides. So you pretty much got that buff up all day, for the most part. That is insane, and the numbers are nice too. Rated Dreadstalker is about 8% of my overall damage, and then you have to add another big chunk for the half-assed Dreadbites on my normal dogs. After all, I did cast almost 200 Hand of Gul'dans in this run. Also keep in mind, the 7 million DPS you saw last video was without tier set.
I'll be damned.
So without any further yapping, let's get into keys to figure out the actual madness of this tier. By the way, this was during a live stream. However, be assured, I don't invite gamers from the stream. I at least keep on telling them to not apply, and whenever somebody with a fishy item level applies, I hesitate. And of course, I get frowned upon right away by getting the passive aggressive "maybe I watched a Warlock survive the first boss this time" comment. Bro, do you even know who you're talking to? What can I say, man? Shit game. But on another note, we are currently having another lock off, but against a destruction lock this time. We won against a Demolock. Kinda. And I don't see many of those suckers, that's for sure. This prompted me to quickly focus up, trying to provide more pew-pew. I also did some adjustment to my interface, pretty much just putting up an overall damage meter, I guess. And I also figured out that I need to pay more attention to multi-spreading Doom. I usually just target the highest HP mob so I can just send it without tap targeting too much. But whenever I use Demon Bolt, it also applies Doom. And if Doom runs out 5 times, it triggers a Doom Guard for some extra AoE. Back to the dungeon though, this brother packed me up on every pull. But I got the upper hand on bosses, well, as long as I stayed alive. So of course, I beat him. Easy peasy, Warlock squeezy, Demolock insane confirmed. And while there are things in life that are just apparent and we all just have to live with them, like me being on top of the shards, so is also the occasional wonky decision making of tanks, which is something I was about to witness. First, I always enjoy when somebody takes a drink on the intermission, walks the entire way to the NPC on a wheelchair class just to realize they don't have it to begin with, and then justify it by saying, "Bug?" Another weird decision is to ignore the affix. When we were about to enter the next area, which usually leads into a bigger pool, the tank just ran past it, which means we weren't able to kill it properly. Don't do that. If the affix spawns, take it down and make sure you have the 20% buff for the next pack, because why not? I mean, it also gives you 10% damage reduction as tank, remember? And even though the route is a free-for-all in this dungeon, I'd still recommend doing E per second, simply because it's worth lusting this boss over Busby. But maybe that's just my opinion. There's also another reason to not bloodlust Busby, and it's as simple as humanity itself. It's greed. If there's a lust, I will pump. I don't have time to play mechanics.
Relax and take notes.
Eventually I had though, because apparently nobody had time to play mechanics. What also doesn't help is if you, as tank, just leave the boss on top of all the dead bees, as it's really hard to click on these suckers. But, in some good news, we were so slow that we had bloodlust backup on IPA. So we didn't use it? Oh well. Maybe I'm complaining too much, since we still timed it eventually and that's all I'm asking for anyways. What I'm not asking for is some annoying little bitch boy hunter telling me to not ban the elemental that's chasing my ass during the Azeroth boss fight. Brother, I don't care if you can't AoE. There's no way in hell you're compensating for my damage, which probably gets cut in half just because your aim shot ricochets. Quick thing to mention here, as Warlock, as you can see, you can easily banish the leftover elemental and it won't do anything throughout the fight, no matter what any marksman says. I mean, look at how much I was able to pump. MM became flavor of the month, so don't listen to those suckers one tiny bit. And that's from somebody that started to play marksman on stream. We don't know shit. We are only there to crit hard, not to think. Now, did the brother do slightly more damage than me in the end? Sure. Was it on the second boss? No. Enough said. Once I finally started to do 8s instead of 7s, which pretty much just depended on the key, shit hit the fan real quick. First, we lost our healer on the second boss for no apparent reason, is what I thought. Watching back, the tank probably ran out of range and let the healer take a melee. And then I figured out that the tank indeed went out of range. I'd be lying if I say I never did this while tanking. So I quickly gave the tank the info to not walk out of melee range, and he understood, so we continued. But then there's the Candle King. Ever since Blizzard did some hotfixing on this bad boy, he hurts even more than before. Pretty sure he got nerfed since then, but this one still hit pretty hard. And what hurts even more is when the healer gets yeeted off the platform because he misses the X toss into the statue. But then it turned out pretty funny. He got sent flying, said fuck, and then out the 4 out of the game. I thought that all of the events was borderline hilarious to me, and I was happy I accidentally kept the 8 Dark Flame instead of the 7. I just always find joy in people being so ashamed of their own gameplay that they just want to leave the situation as soon as possible without giving anybody a chance to tell them that it's okay. Happens, man. Don't worry about it. And yet this left me with a funny encounter. For some reason, I trusted. A lot. Like a lot. So I invited this DK with 500 score at 3.2k main, who even had a plus 10 time, from boosting I assume. To be fair, I could swear the in-game score said 1800 when I invited him, but now I'm not so sure anymore. Oh yes, he was also 613 item level. What was I thinking? No idea, man. But I trusted in the ancient art of the blood healing, and so this was wild as hell. I mean, I had blood DKs tanking my 10s and whatnot, but this guy was heavily undergeared and still didn't let his HP move one bit. This was crazy. And even though we managed to skip the nasty pack in front of the Candle King, it just takes forever to play for very little score, we obviously pulled it on the way down because of some wonky Warlock that has some sussy imps with a mind of their own. Yet, while we are all wiping away, our, again heavily undergeared tank, just started the card event by himself. I swear those good players play a different game compared to all of us, man. Easy 2 chests, hell, almost 3 chests if it wasn't for my Imps body pulling, and we got some shitty trinket. Cool. And yet I got something better. Another DK. But this time, heavily overgeared. Let me introduce you to the guy who had 670 item level, 3k score, and who casually did an absolutely absurd amount of damage even just with 4 targets. Not with Goddess Life, but with Death Strike. I mean, look at this shit. The Druid was pumping, I was pumping, the Warrior was, well, he was there, and the DK just rallied the packs like they owed him money with some AoE Death Strikes hitting for up to 5 million. What the actual hell is going on? For any of you interested, I took a screenshot of his talents, He mentioned that it's a gameplay though, and he's rocking 30% haste alongside 53% mastery, and he probably also had this priest giving him PI whenever, as they were premates. But this is still a stupid amount of damage, man. He didn't even have any stat steroids or trinkets. What can I say, man? I was mind blown at this kind of damage. I barely could keep up with him on bosses, and mind you, I was doing some solid damage every now and then. To be fair, this was borderline annoyingly easy, and it just furthermore enhances my theory of tanks being the make it or break it factor in every key these days. I had 2.4 mil DPS overall, but the damn tank had 2.8 instead. Shit is crazy. He tried to explain to me how the damage happens, but to be honest, I don't even know what these spells mean or do. But maybe you will. Let me know how much over damage you did so far on your tanks. With this, I also had every key timed on 6 or above, besides Priory. And what do we know? Lucky. Or was I? Because at this point, it was after 2 AM on Europe, which means reset hits soon. So what are the odds of me getting people to actually... Oh damn. Alright. Now in an honest review, as a DPS player, I like Priory. A lot. Almost every pole has so many targets that you can just do an unholy amount of damage just like that. What I did like was the combination of Arcane Mage and Feral in my party, with only Tyrannical being active, as some packs died so fast I couldn't even do shit. I mean, this brother hit a 14 million Arcane Barrage on some target, and I'ma just go ahead and assume it's one that takes a more increased damage, even though I have no idea which one that may be. To be fair, at this point I was more amazed at what level of gamers I was meeting this late before reset, even just doing +7 keys. And besides a few polls where all of us just completely escalated damage to a dumb degree, there wasn't much to show in here. Another 3 chest, I did 2.8 mil overall, which I think is not bad for my item level, but then again, it's not even close compared to that. Man, I can't wait for some bigger gear upgrades in the future. But with me receiving a Dark Flame Cleft key 25 minutes before server restarts, I started to calculate.
Bruh.
Hey guys, it's Kuzi. Welcome back to episode 3 of me trying to survive the first boss in Mechagon in this Zero to Hero Demonology Warlock 3K edition. In the last episode, we put in enough reps to snatch ourselves some primed up Keystone Masters, met the most undergeared and most overgeared blood decays I have seen so far, found out why nobody watches Robo Wars anymore, and also had the opportunity to grab ourselves a +10 key 25 minutes before reset, which was our last chance of success since the servers went down for longer due to the new patch. Which means I will show you the conclusion of that, while also ensuring updates in form of crafted items, insane biz loot from dungeons, as well as a vault to open up. I also will bring back the long lost art of me explaining the rotation of a spec to you in 90 seconds or less, which is so ancient that I only did it once during my second series ever in Dragonflight Season 2. So yeah,
Yes! 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 Yes!
Anyways, we also charge ass first towards a more pristine 2.5k rating, which means we not only got some deep fried KFC imp wings on the menu, but also +10 keys with all kind of funny shenanigans. So if you're ready for all of the above, then make sure to grab a drink, get comfy, quickly hit the like button, and enjoy the 3rd episode of the only pet class that matters. Alright, so in order to wrap up the 2nd week of playing, I need you to show what happened with the +10 Dark Flame I got after bridge chesting the 7th Priory 25 minutes before reset. Nothing. Nothing happened at all. I went offline, went to bed. I was cooked, man, what can I tell you? So we start off the episode with a vault right away. Surely this time we will have some more choices compared to last week. What do we know? I technically got 5 out of 5 items as upgrades. Crazy. We got 3 set pieces, all hero, which are a decent upgrade from all the champ pieces and even the vet chest. We got a ring that has some nice stats, and we got a weapon. Not gonna lie, I was kinda upset I didn't do the 10 now, since a mid-level weapon would have been huge. But it is what it is, so I take the chest piece since it's the biggest bumper in stats. Another thing to mention is time walking, which is up this week, but in no way I'ma do that for some crusty ass champion wrists or something. I also sipped all the items I could get from a normal raid and nothing really matters. So while I show you some saucy keys that were all just the build up for our first actual 10, I think it's time to revive the earlier mentioned ancient art of learning a spec in 90 seconds or less.
Welcome to the Pristine Zero to Hero Demonology Warlock Guide, in which the half-horsed Muppet will try to explain a spec he doesn't understand himself in just over a minute. Many of these exist, but none of them is able to just hit the nail on the head with pinpoint accurate instructions like the dude that has been playing this crap for about 2 weeks' time. Pick up pen and notepad in order to take in the never-ending flood of informations of the one they call Yeater of Many, Demon Pimp, and Dinosaur of the Year.
90 seconds on the clock, please. Alright, first and foremost, we need to establish the basics, and with Warlock, this means we got pets. So if you're a furry, Kim Kardashian, or Diddy's baby oil dealer, you got options. Bad news for us, Demo doesn't have options. Good news, we got the beefy boy with the big ass pecs and the big ass axe. And if you think for a second that we're just hiding behind our demon daddy, then you're absolutely correct. But wait, there's more. We got puppies, DNA manipulated zebras, a twin daddy, and the entire family from Harry Potter's little shit elf, which we can tag in on demand to make them work for us. The gameplay insists of a very baseline gain soul shot, spend soul shot type of party. Shadow Bolt and Demon Bolt will gain, while summoning your slaves alongside Hand of the Goat will use them. Our entire core rotation revolves around the goop father called Tyrant, as we need to ensure to have all demons present plus an extra of 5 imps before summoning this bad boy, as it heavily increases its damage done. So you want to start with Power Siphon, Shadow Bolt into Grimoire, Shadow Bolt into Charhound, Shadow Bolt into Doggies, a Hand of Gul'dan, Demon Bolt hit 3 shards, another Hand of Gul'dan, and after that, we let the bulky beast off its leash and watch carnage. If you got the doggy proc, make sure you summon another round of the imps before summoning the Mac Daddy of the Demon World. And then it's rinse and repeat. Stack soul shards, use soul shards. Use all your dogs, hounds on cooldowns as they line up perfectly with Tyrant every minute. After that, you just watch hell break loose because you got about 1500 passives all working with each other to multi-stack damage over damage on top of damage, alongside some passive perks that will make your life easier. Force set will continue to bring you more bitches, and to your enemies, more stitches, making your Femstalker the most dangerous beast in all of Donegal. Well, right after whatever the hell that thing is. Have fun, good luck. Easy baby, still got it. Now, before we continue where we left off, we do have some quick more upgrades to talk about. Not only did I craft myself a staff, you heard me, handmade baby. We also got myself a new belt as a little side piece with the embellishment. And with that, I was ready for the big leagues. No more lousy hero items and vaults. We are prepared for the big booty disappointment with our first +10, Rookery. Now the good thing about 10s, you can be pretty picky with whatever you invite, if you got a decent key that is. And even though some may complain about me inviting people with better gear to aid my purpose, I don't really care. It's a puck experience after all. And I'm not gonna sit here, invite gamers with no score or gear, and then act surprised if it goes to shits. So I made sure I got at least 2 CRs, a Bloodlust, and at least 2 Dispels to deal with this week's affix. Speaking of, we got Devour this week to play around. And I'm mildly upset I can't do shit against the affix, besides praying. Hence why you are going to see me inviting a lot more dispelling classes in this video. Besides your average utility comp, this is something you need to be aware of while packing. Invite classes or specs that will compensate for things you might lack. So because I was lacking some epicness, I got myself another Warlock for the remaining lock off versus an Affliction. And, well yeah, I mean I did some damage, but not that damage. Crazy. And yet we learned that damage alone won't save you from greed. At least I wasn't the only one, which means this ability is super difficult to be played.
Stop the cap.
Now the trash between first and second boss is arguably the roughest part of this dungeon. So much party damage, so you really need to be invested into using defensives. And we got a few options for that. Unending Resolve, which is our only actual damage reduction with a juicy 3-minute cooldown, but boy is this thing solid. 40% for 8 seconds is nothing to sneeze at, but because of its cooldown, this is not allowed to be wasted. Which maybe is a bit of a problem, but once you figure out which bosses or packs will hurt you the most, it's fine. We also do have 2 more active buttons that will save us more often. Dark Pact, which is you sacrificing 20% of your current HP for a shield equal to double of the offered health. Keep in mind, this is a spell you want to use before damage is incoming, because if you use this in low HP, the shield will also be quite ass. However, if you're low HP, we got some evil looking health stones to take care of that. Not only are these suckers more impactful than those boring ass green skittle health stones, but in combination with Soul Burn, they are giga insane. They pretty much heal you for 50% of your HP by being used during Soul Burn, with an extra effect on gaining 20% overall health. And more health equals more shield from Dark Pact. So when you're low, don't panic. Use Soul Burn into Healthstone and then use Dark Pact for some giga big shield to save your ass. Both of them are on a 1-minute cooldown, but you can lower the cooldown of Pact to even 45 seconds. You still got even more passive damage reductions, but you know they're passive, so I don't really have to list them up. Back to the dungeon, we did struggle a bit with playing the affix, which honestly is also just my bad. You could always make the argument that the Affliction can go for an Imp, and he offered up to do that, but it's probably smarter on my end to just invite an overall of 3 people who could dispel. After all, the affliction has to trade off his kick for the dispel. And keep in mind, sometimes the healer is required to dispel something else. So, lesson learned. But besides that big struggle during Gorin and the minor problems resulting into random deaths every now and then, we still managed to get through it and time our first +10. Third in damage, but I feel like with this overall from the party, I easily could have topped the shards if I just played it better.
Okay.
Which means, we learned 2 things. More dispels, and to play it better. Look man, I know you guys meant well telling me how to use my teleport in advance in order to prevent that from happening. And you're right, it would have prevented this whole thing. But what the actual hell is this shit? And yet the shittery didn't stop there. I think for the very first time this season, I died on Kujo because I was standing behind the wrong box. How can you even miss that?
I don't know, Jeff.
The way I played so incredibly ass that I died on every damn boss was making me upset. I really dislike playing bad, for real. Nothing triggers me more than me being ass. At least I was somewhat useful with my CRs on the final boss, as that's the only one where I didn't pack up. But if there ever was a carry, it was this thing. Holy hell do I need to focus up.
That's a lot of damage.
Oh yeah, this is going well, I can feel it.
Nope.
Okay, so this one was not my bad. This is what happens when you don't pull this pack back to prevent the knockback body pulls. And as a demo log, I got this big problem that I can't use my kick to help gathering, because X-Toss is also a stun and the tank just refused to put them all together. 12 deaths just because we didn't backtrack the pack. That's crazy, man. At least this time I was feeling myself on certain pulls, and I really enjoy how Demo is just shredding away those smaller suckers, even though I just played the normal rotation I played during single target. I love it.
I love it!
Now on the second boss I figured out some ways to play this rather nice and locked. I put teleport down next to the candle, then I walk to another one. So when you get the debuff, you can easily light up 2 of them without much stress. Furthermore, both spells of this boss that will do some serious damage are used every minute. So you can use your Dark Pack for the big AoE candle blower and Hellstone during the targeted wins. Help the healer to help you, you know? Though the worrisome part is yet to come with the Candle King standing in front of us. Playing the mechanics is so damn important here because unlike other bosses, this won't just one-shot your ass. It will slowly drag your HP down and give your healer a mental breakdown while doing so. It's also one of those bosses where if one party member dies, it's getting so much more difficult. But luckily we had some sparks of brilliance to play the wax figures cleanly, and that's what I'm talking about, baby. Big deeps, now we're cooking. And boy did we need to stir it up for the next one, as we not only gotten ourselves an outlaw rogue, which we don't see often, we also gotten a brewmaster monk and the press evoker. This looks like a Make-A-Wish party WoW edition.
You can't say that!
And while we played the first pull super clean, without no casualties, we had a second pull that was, let's say quite mid. Never seen somebody pull this pack on purpose, especially with the jumping mini-boss together. This seems to be a cooldown pull, so doing that right after was not expected on my end. I think the combination of packs is playable, but it wasn't expected. Be it as it may, this was the first time I did this route. Ignoring the 6 mobs down there in order to play the one big pull was insanely smart. Just way less damage on the party since those light elementals slapped the shit out of you. Matter of fact, I like this route so much that I tried to use some of its magic on my monk later that day. Also, I don't know if I ever mentioned this, but on the double boss in here, use all kinds of cleave, if it's increasing your damage. They share HP, so even if you target the secondary boss, it will still work out perfectly. And there's another tip I give to you. If you take a lot of damage, maybe disable Burning Rush, you idiot. But hey, besides the second pull that I simply didn't see coming at all, this was such a clean run. Fast pace as well. 2 chests. Very hyped to have our very first plus 12 ready to go. Surely, this will be fine. Hey guys, it's Kusi. Welcome to episode 4 of baiting you into believing I did keys I didn't actually do. This Zero to Hero Demo Warlock edition, in which I grind up my way to 3k rating without friends, extra gold, great IO connection, and seemingly no guild because this server is dead as hell.
Oh, he did!
In the last episode, we dipped our nasty undertoes into the slightly deeper water of plus 10s, in which we figured out that I am indeed not ready for Mechagon at all. Fitting for the dungeon, I was trash. But we ultimately gotten 4 out of 8 portals, which is a step closer to Keystone Hero, and because that was only the beginning of the actual grind, we got something cooked up today. Not only will we try to get all the remaining 10s done, but we also will have a stacked vault primed up for us. And after some more upgrades in the shape of some crafted items, we are finally attempting our first plus 12 of the series, and actually my only second plus 12 this entire season.
You're joking.
Yeah, I only did 1 so far. That's gonna be fun. So without any further ado, make sure to grab a drink, get comfy and enjoy the episode that made me realize that the struggle has just begun and that the struggle often comes in form of a Beastmaster. First of all, I kinda start to feel bad about the Beastmaster bashing I usually promote, but boy, you have seen nothing yet. So I teased in the beginning, we ended up with the plus 12 Theater of Pain after 2-chesting our Priory 10. And what can I tell you? I obviously didn't do it.
You're a liar. You're a liar.
Look man, I know some of you will call me a
Pussy.
but the truth is, I don't want to come unprepared, even if it's my own key. I don't want to be the dude that bricks it. So I need to get reps in, which means we lock ourselves into a painful theater with my 2 arch enemies this season, Prot Paladin and BM Hunter. Oh boy. And here's something you need to help me understand real quick. Sure, we don't need to skip the last mini-boss, even though I kinda recommend that since this one is an absolute pain to play. But why on earth would you pull Salve when one player is offline? Are you dumb?
I don't know, Jeff.
Like for real, are you stupid?
I don't know, Jeff.
What happens when, not if, when both of your DPS will be sent down and you got nobody killing the banner? Yeah, that happens. I swear man, it's tanks. 9 out of 10 tanks are just Zack ride or dies it seems. What's even more frustrating is that the tank, heal and the druid were pre-mates. So you're telling me they couldn't somehow communicate that the druid will return just seconds after us pulling? Come on bro. Stop griefing other people's keys with dumb decisions. Eventually we were able to continue through this, and so I got just one thing to show you. Apparently whenever you enter those portals in the Lich boss area, your imps disappear. Sort of. So make sure you at least use Power Siphon before you get through. Other than that, we had no more casualties till the last boss. Luckily still timing this, but man, this was unnecessary. What's also necessary was the key lag I got right after. We did get a Dark Flame Cleft next, which is okay, even though I timed that one before, but then we got Mechagon, which I also didn't need. And then we got Dark Flame again.
Unlucky.
Yay. But being balls deep into the grind rewards you eventually, and so I got the key I was excited for, as it's a nice one for Demolog, the Brewery. Big ass pulls very often, while we just got passive cleave non-stop. Hell yeah baby. So one thing to note here is, I know some of you got mad about it, but I didn't really use Implosion. I just now, and when I say now I mean 1 week after the recording of this footage, learned when to use it, as I didn't really have clear instructions. So I'll give you the information that I received, while I will tell you, do as I say, not as I do. Apparently you wanna yeet those bastards as soon as you have 6 or more of them, if there are at least 3 targets. The damage is highly reduced if you have 10 mobs sitting there, and because their cast is just single target, apparently it's smart to use it on 3 or more targets. Now you know, do better than me. Unfortunately this hunter was out of his mind. 2 marksmen probably ain't the play for a class that needs a little bit of ramping. But we need to make it work, that's for sure. See what I mean? I was pumping quite nice, but I had to move so much, and then this hunter was just clapping cheeks like he's at a Diddy party. Again, don't be like me. If the cast that slows you goes through, you can use your teleport in order to cleanse yourself of the movement impairing effect, such as slow. We have that baseline from our ability, and with Soul Edged Circle, we even get some mad movement speed. I need to use this a lot more for sure. But what can I tell you? This run was good. I think it's the first time I did over 3 mil DPS, but this hunter was just out of control, man. And hey, he's on hero. Cool. Only 490 to go. This also marks the end of the week, which means we got a vault primed up and ready to bless us with something juicy. Triple myth after all. Luckily there was only one item that was interesting enough for my liking, which were the Haste Mastery Hands. I will keep those as a non-set for now, cause the stats are quite solid. Then another upgraded form of crafted wrists. With that, we stand at 657 item level. Fun! Yet that's where the fun ended. Well, for me. For you it's gonna be a fun ride. I was calling this out prior to the season and I stand by it till this day. Theater of Pain is the worst designed dungeon to be played in a fortified and tyrannical scenario. What's also just borderline stupid is that these damn orbs from the Ascension affix are either bugged or they just love to cuck you. Look at this shit. 10 are spawning, I'm starting to cast Shadow Fury, 3 of those orbs within my stun range just disappear, probably from damage of the adds, and then the boss has 3 stacks, which means 30% damage reduction. I hate this affix, man, it's so stupid. But that's just me ranting. The annoying part for me was the final wing. Pulling Ghosts and the Big Guardian is very common and it's okay, as long as the guy with the decurse gets a dispel off. It's playable. Any moment now. Any second now. And not using the curse became a very prominent issue we have. I thought the mage isn't decursing because usually that's who to blame for that. Turns out it was healer who didn't do it. By the last platform I got so mad. I wanted to keep the curse that puts Fear Puddle under you and just run behind the healer till he does something about it. But I decided for a better judgment. This was horrific, man. We pulled slow, occasionally did bad damage, missed a kick or two, missed 12 or 13 decurses, just an overall team effort to be ass. And now I receive a +9 for my trouble. But hey, I only need 2 more dungeons for the +10 bracket, so as long as it's not Motherload or Floodgate. I hate my life. Guess how long it took me to find a party for this shit? Wrong. 27 minutes.
Damn.
Guess how long the run went? Wrong. 6 minutes. At least I got decent players for the 8 afterwards, so we 2-chested. But wait.
Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck?
Well, I did play that off stream because I was getting a little bit tilted, not gonna lie. And this run went similar. We cleared 2 wings downstairs, entered the Lich area with 1 death, came out with 6. But at least it's not 13. But during this run, my intel let me know that there's a way that you, as a Warlock, are even more useful than usually in Theater of Pain. And when I say intel, I mean Saloon. She also does WoW related videos, so check her out right after the video, will you? But back to the topic. You see, you got a talent that nobody plays called Horrify, which simply makes sure that every mob you fear doesn't go into BM pet mode and pulls out the dungeon. Instead, it stands still. And for some damn reason it behaves similar to Demon Hunters in Prison or Rogue Zap, as you can use this as a skip tool for the first pack. Other CCs like Sheep, Frog or Paralysis will still make you body pull when you run past them. But this actually works. I tested it. Next time when the party is like, oh, we can't skip this, we have no priest or Demon Hunter, because nobody plays Rogue anyways, I'd be like, don't worry babe, I got you. And they'd be like, oh yeah. Oh man, I need help. But because I felt confident and a bit horny after timing the dungeon as top DPS, I was ready for the next chapter beyond 10. 11. Baby steps, man. Baby steps. And we got Priory. Now, not that I know it personally, but I've been informed that Priory is in fact one of the harder dungeons on 12 and above. Which makes sense as it still has a rather tight timer, and once you enter 12, the death count will be a lot worse than now. So happy to have it on 11 instead. Big W. I made sure I got everything I need. A Demon Hunter, which is good for Silence and Chain Sigil, a Shaman, which got Bloodlust, a Short Kick, good on demand healing, as well as an Incap Totem for the affix, a Hunter for, well, Pew Pew, since we got Bloodlust already, and a Paladin for a second combat res, just in case I may be dirt nap. And both of these DPS are also quite tanky, which is not that bad either. So we did the more common big pull, including the first mini-boss, and nobody died. Yeah right, like you believed me for a second here. But then something funny, or even lucky, happened. You see, I'm used to traveling with the gateway lowering your body pull range. You know, back in my days. Apparently it doesn't. So I just clipped the archers we skipped, they aggroed me, I died, and then they just reset it. I was in the middle of our party when that happened. That's crazy. Yet we survived my attempt to be the imposter, and so we go ham on my favorite boss. This dude is awesome, because the damage you do to the secondary lieutenant also counting for the main boss. This is a perfect cleave for us to pull through. All of our AoE happens passive anyways from our single target rotation, besides Implosion. So we are pumping on this bitch and I love every second of it.
Oh my god, I love it. I f***ing love it!
Last thing I will show you about the dungeon was me pumping my nuts off during a pull. There are scary packs in this room, so I was on my A game to help interrupting, stunning and blasting. Red Paladins hate this trick. We timed it quite comfortable. I got a signet which drops on almost every run I do, and I traded it away like a good girl. And so I had a plus 12 in my bag with the absolute intent to play it. The problem though, it was motherload. Why is that a problem? Well, I only got a 6 timed on it. And I'm gonna be honest, if I'd apply to a plus 12 key, I won't apply to the guy that hasn't timed this shit on 10 at least. So I legit tried. For a while. Almost 40 minutes-ish. Till I decided to do the 10 instead, and it just makes more sense. So after some kicking, some pumping, some banishing, and some raging about the damn orbs blowing up for no reason, we finished the key easy peasy one chest, and Lord Ian blessed us with the holiest of black troll racism.
They're pretty black. We're gonna kill them.
Got it.
As we actually got the final key I'm missing for my plus 10 brackets. Floodgate. I came to like Floodgate, man. Boss fights are fun, different, and trash pulls are big. We completely ran through this key. Neat overall, and we managed to 2-chest this puppy, which leads me with an actual 12 mecha gun and no more excuses. All 10s timed, which by the way is the reason you're gonna see me do plus 10 community keys on the lock every now and then. So we enchanted all of our remaining gear. Speaking of, item level 664, crafted ring, partied up with gamers that all had timed plus 12s before, and we send it.
Bruh.
What can I tell you, man, the tank was trolling a bit. Dying on first pull with 1 mil HPS, which, well, is not that much even for a monk, and dampen harm up. Then overpulling on the dogs, so people occasionally got one-tapped. I meanwhile had an argument with my viewers about Demolock not going for Imp during the dog trash for the spells. And then our BM Hunter got first packed, and then packed up by the arguably easiest mechanic only Muppets die on. And I know what I'm talking about here. Then I had to whip out the summoning stone cause, well, yeah. And then came the American Garden with bombs, gun turrets and all kind of deadly attractions. But first, quick tip here. If you rock a priest and you do the higher keys, you should consider to CC the little guy that creates those funny little yellow barriers for the pack after the boss. You know, the double spiders. With that thing, you make that pack so insanely easy it's not even funny. And another tip I didn't know, which I got from the NDI earlier this week, you can stun those gun turrets. So my kick was finally more useful than others. God bless America and the gun turrets. But of course, it's not a secret that this key is gone.
You're joking.
So we overpulled some more trash, cause why not? I was asking why we pull everything since it's a 12, and he gave me the "oh, take yourself" kind of answer, and so we finished the run with 22 deaths, juicy 7-minute overtime, cool stuff. And let's talk about the BM Hunter's damage. My god, really? You want to play 12s with that? Maybe the one button playstyle can't be here soon enough. And yet we ain't gonna end here, cause your boy was grinding to get another shot at glory, another shot at the first plus 12, and we got Rookery. Perfect. Easy dungeon. Only 3 bosses. Oh yeah, and look how much overall I was ending on the Priory key leading up to this. I'm telling you, I get the hang of this shit. But back to the dungeon. Pretty much the same comp as we did our plus 11 Priory on, but one big difference. Instead of a pumping marksman, we got this dude. Are you f***ing kidding me, man? You know what? No more BM Hunter. In a time where marksman is doing so much damage, why would I even invite any Beastmaster players? No more. Gone. Banned. You are dead to me. Prot Paladin's gone, and so are Beastmasters. Oh yeah, you guessed it. We bricked the shit out of this key. God, 3k was such a brilliant idea now, wasn't it? Hey guys, it's Kussi. Welcome back to episode 4.5 of regretting the 3k goal as a DPS in a full plug scenario. In this 0 to hero, why are most tanks in plus 12 seemingly make-a-wish cases? Demolock edition. In the last episode we, you know what, change of pace. As I said, similar to solo leveling, we're gonna have a 0.5 episode in between 4 and 5 because, to be honest, I didn't really get much done. Not because I didn't invest the time or because I didn't want to, but because I was deadass sitting in queue for longer than I played keys. So we will talk about this. We will talk about what I learned so far in higher keys, things that are quite bad, things that are fun and or good, and why the game just hates me by giving me one brewery key after the other. And then we also gotta talk about tanks in general, as well as hunters. Yes, I know I was complaining about Beastmaster last episode and I stay with this till the end, but it just doesn't stop. because I found the most delusional player during my Zero to Hero adventure so far, and he was off the rails. So instead of getting comfy, you better buckle up, strap yourself in, because this episode will be painful for me to make, but hopefully funny for you to watch. With that being said, like and subscribe for more trauma dumping in the future. Bro, stop dying, you piece of sh**. Okay, before I spoil some tea like those LA Valley girls, let me just say this first. I'm sure you guys aren't that level of degenerate, so I'm not too worried about it. However, I will shit on some people in this video, and especially one guy a lot. Don't harass them. Don't go online, whisper them, or annoy them with anything. I obviously try to over-exaggerate for the funsies, so don't go off on anybody. Appreciate you. I mean, look, yes, we failed that 12th rookery last episode while the tank did some unannounced YOLO pull that made the healer rightfully quit the party. I don't blame the healer one bit. And yet this means back to the drawing board. Because if we want to do 12s, we better put in the effort. 3 CRs check, Bloodlust check, no BM check. But this run was quite special for many reasons. Not only did I beat both Unholy and Marksman Hunter in overall, this was also the first time in a long time where nobody died on the final boss. And I had absolutely no issue telling them that. Yet, an ending must mean there will be another beginning.
Zitat Ende, Gänsehoden!
Or something like that. And the ending of this dungeon meant the beginning of torture for your boy. The tricky part was me being baited. You see, this is a 3-stack applying. All 3 players, similar item level, which was higher than mine, all of them are the same score, so my first thought was they only played together. And to potentially prove that theory, all of them with the same amount of 12s time. Also, an almost perfect comp for me. Demon Hunter to make pulls easy with so much control, plus the increased magic damage, Hunter for Bloodlust, and no Beastmaster, and the Druid for another CR in case I dirt nap, which sometimes happens, plus Verse buff. And then I went even a step further to grab the Arcane Mage in a similar skill level than the rest for some extra single target and or prio damage. Granted, kick's a bit of an issue here. Now here's the thing. Because there's no point in farming 12s, you won't have those insano people that queue up for your 10s in order to stack the vault. Which means you can't be as picky, as you pretty much only get gamers who need this key for progression. And I am well aware of that. So let me show you the key in full duration, but in double speed.
Somebody else's ladder just to make yourself feel just a little bigger. I don't know if I've seen anything that's sadder.
And yeah, that was that. Pretty much went 1 minute. No idea who added the extra pack, no idea who added Chewy in the end, and because I don't know that, I can't really blame anyone here. Wasn't the tank overpulling or not surviving, that's for sure. I mean, the mage died before his big burst went off while having all defenses up. I don't know. You have to question yourself. But that's my key, man. 30 minutes of queue time for the rookery 11 plus the actual time of the key for 1 minute dopamine. It's the little things in life, I guess. This now means we are stuck with an 11 brewery, which is also extra score and all, but still a bit nah. Though the key player of this run is Fang Slasher, who is so damn special, he has 2 R's in the end. And I bet money he also got Fang Slasher with 1 R already locked down on this MTS server. You know why I know this is an MTS server? Because that's the one where I got rank 1 mage last season with 2.8k score. That's why. Which, by the way, just as a heads up, is more than Fang Slasher had last season. But this run went a lot better. We cleared trash, pulled the first boss, Fab Slasher died right away because he didn't MD the tank, ripped aggro with 1.5 mil DPS for some reason, and then got the tank buster. 3k gamer, by the way. Our tank here also played the Summon Niu Zhao.
That's gotta be racist, there's no way.
Which should be renamed in Summon Niu Shot, because there's no shot in hell you play this. But I guess he does it, but it didn't do shit as he died without using it. A bit unfortunate, but there's no 15-second timer for dying, so it's whatever. Well, okay, 9 more deaths was 9 more than I expected, not gonna lie. And yet now came the best part of the dungeon. While we still had 10 minutes to play 2 bosses and what, 3 trash packs, our hunter decided to leave the key. But what happened?
I don't know, Jeff.
Well, we all got slowed, because the cast of the Harvester went through. 4 out of 5 survived. Tank Slasher is not one of them. Now let's quickly look at the facts here. We got Turtle up, he could have lived that. We got Survival of the Smartest up, hence why he didn't use it. And Hunters can remove Slow with Disengage. But that's probably something you don't do on 3k rating, because that's probably too advanced. Yet, you maybe ask yourself why I'm so bitchy when it comes to this lovely off-meta player, his words, not mine. Well, it's because I was fed up. Fed up of trusting into idiots. Fed up of people being shit at the game and then just pathetically dropping out of the party without saying anything. Have some decency, man. This key was not over yet. Show some balls. And I usually don't do this, but I whispered him. I was legit upset. He just bricked my key that was still absolutely timeable, even with his dumbass dying the most amount of times. First, he blamed it on the tank, even though chain pulling is very normal in this dungeon and he didn't do any weird pulls, just normal ones. So I dropped some facts. I told him that 4 out of 5 survived the tank pulling random and that it seems like a player diff to me, which escalated to a long ass conversation where he tried to tell me that all of us are bad and he is not. He also tried to explain that we all survived because we are just as shit as the tank.
What?
That's crazy. I will keep this conversation on the screen while I tell you some facts here. So, not shockingly to all of us, this dude plays BM Hunter as a main. I know, right? Who would have seen that one coming, huh? He just applied to Marquis as marksman to test things out. Cool, but whatever. Furthermore, this dude really insisted of letting me know he's a far superior gamer because he timed 12s and 13s, while also bragged with his raid logs. Now, at first I was impressed, and then I saw he was talking about heroic raid logs. But still, do you know what? I can't argue against that. On paper he looks like a far better player. I mean, he even killed the first boss on heroic 3 times in 1 week just to parse. He's a dedicated degen and I think that's kinda sad, but whatever. Even his Mythic Plus score looks pretty solid, even though I got no idea how that's measured if I'm honest. But then again, he also plays around 25 keys per week on this character. That paired with way too much time to join heroic raids multiple times a week just to parse makes me think he only got this one character to play. And if you only play one character for what, 9 weeks now? Fully commit to it as you clearly play a lot. I mean, he fills 3 vaults a week and you're bad enough to die to dodgeable one-shots? You don't have the damage, you don't kick more than others, and even the best, you are dying the most amount of times while clearly being the absolute giga gamer in this unworthy bug party. That is just crazy. Do you know how crazy this sounds? I mentioned earlier I legit was mad when I whispered him to begin with, but this very quickly became super amusing to me as this guy clearly is so zoomed in on his in-game life that he lost track of reality. At least perform proper if you want to talk shit, man. And I like how I legit sent him facts, raw data, and he's just like, nah, you're just bad, man. Those offensive messages I didn't click on are something I saw later, by the way. He just called me shit, and in this time and age, apparently that's something Blizzard wants to protect me from. That is wild. Just look at the death counter, man. Keep in mind, the last 5 deaths were after he left, when we tried to foreman the boss. He legit had 6 out of 14 deaths. Almost half.
Quick maths.
That's Mitch Jones level of delusional. I would love to see some details on his keys, that's for sure. Oh wait, look at this. 12 brewery, 3 out of 8 deaths. That's crazy. Even dying to the same one-shot. Used only 1 healing potion the entire dungeon, even though he sometimes just ticked down. Sussy. And no matter how many logs I checked, he was a lot more often leading the death charts than the DPS charge, just for certain. I know I'm going way too deep into this, but this is what my degenerate brain considers funny. However, to make a cut here with a segue, what's not funny was me playing yet another 11 Priory, which I didn't record just to receive yet another brewery key. But here's the good news. This key did not brick as fast as the last did, because it never started. I mean, okay, it was late. 45 minutes before reset. We had a tank, but no healer wanted to deal with this anymore, which is fair. So instead I treat you to a little vault before the pain continues. So we had the remnant of useless, some wrists we don't need since we got crafted ones, but hey, a chest piece on it. Hell yeah. Quick and easy decision for this one. Oh, by the way, that's the overall from the 11 Priory I didn't record. Guess I couldn't time 12s with that, huh, Fab Slasher? Disregarding, 11 Mechagron was what I got from the vault and I was keen to get that up again. After all, your boy is not a quitter. Yet. And do you think I was able to cast for 2 damn seconds while the actual hunter does some damage?
No.
Absolutely not. At the boss is where I know I enjoy the spec a lot. You build up your stuff, summon the big daddy tyrant, and then you slowly catch up to all those bursty boys. Because even though this dude went up to 5 mil, I only went up to 3. and I only dropped down a little bit. Lovely. What an enjoyable run though. First death came at the third boss from our healer, which I will not blame at all, since with all the shit happening, it's hard to dodge sometimes while also watching the player's HP. Rather clean one chest, and we end up with another Brewery 12. Lord have mercy upon my soul, man.
God have mercy upon us.
So I hope you still remember the last run, because not only did I sit in queue for roughly 40 minutes this time, we also had yet another arcane mage dying without defensives active. And then the tank died too. Brother was out of cooldowns, and there's a very simple reason for that. Lil bro pulled 3 hired muscle. I don't think that's the play at all. And because he knew he messed up, he gently apologized and we all moved along. Yeah right, he just alto fall like a 10-year-old. Hugging 3k was arguably an equally good idea as circumcising yourself at home over the kitchen sink. I have no idea what it is with tanks this season. The packs don't hurt, unless you do dumb shit. The scaling is so weak compared to last season, a lot less tank busters. I feel like they made playing tank a lot more accessible and people just got dumber. Don't get me wrong, I'm not here to blame tanks for everything, because obviously the old rule applies. If you do a lot of things, you can do a lot of things wrong. And tanks have to do a lot more things than DPS. But I also play some tank. I do a weekly key on my Demon Hunter, which usually ends up being a tank, and I also attempted my first 12 on that one with full mastery crit gear. I'm talking 7% haste, 3% verse. I'm not a vengeance main, but that doesn't seem right to me. And yet I didn't die during the brewery run at all. What I try to say is, it's not that difficult. Stop doing NDI roads or pulls you've seen in plus 18 keys of your favorite streamer. You are not him, man. Just don't. For the love of the people playing this game, if you want to try things out, do nasty pulls. That's cool. But maybe ask for a resilient 12 before you do that. Don't be that piece of shit that just ruined someone's day by bricking a key that took an hour or 2 to build up. Please, have a heart. You f***. But hold up, the last time was so nice.
I had to do it twice.
Now, this time I left. I guess now I'm the quitter. Because I didn't want to deal with this shit. For some reason, this elemental shaman decided to go for enhancement just before the key starts. I don't care. I inspected him, he had gear. Go ahead. So I waited for him to respec. And then I started. He instantly went outside because respeccing wasn't enough, he had to change talents too. He came back, and then he hopped out again. And then he came back and we had this happen. So I thought, you know what, screw it. Why secretly just begging for another damn key that isn't brewery for once? But just so I don't burn through all of my footage, that's where we will end this one. Sorry for the rant, but I hope you had some good cringy chuckles with the bitch boy of a hunter at least. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you in the next, hopefully proper episode. Peace. Hey guys, it's Kusi. Welcome back to, I guess, the proper episode 5, in which we are going to pick up what we learned from last episode, adapt, and ultimately manage to get past the first pull in the meadery. In this Zero to Hero, it finally happened, we finally timed the key. Demolock edition. In the last episode, we not only attempted multiple world records by disbanding the party so fast, Bloodlust was still running, we also met the arguably most sane BM main this game has to offer. But all of that was just a test to measure our patience, because today we are going on a trip. A trip that will include a lesson about mispulls, League of Legends players' mentality, and living proof that the difference of agony and pure pleasure is often just a matter of seconds. Which I'm sure every lady knows. Be that as it may, today I will try to be more positive and to be more respectful towards our party members, as mistakes can happen. Unless you are a complaining little bitch boy ready to throw everything away just because you have your own tiny problems. But in reality, I was already in a better mood because I didn't get Cinderbrew keys so frequently. With that being said, make sure to grab a drink, get comfy, and enjoy episode 5, in which we finally time a plus 12 key. Alrighty, so before I will tell you how we managed to turn the tides in our favor after getting the double shafter in both 12 and 11 meadery, let me say this one thing first. Thank you for all the kind messages during the dire times of last episode. You guys having similar experience or struggles made me feel a lot better about the situation, because honestly, I rarely have those things happening. Probably because I very rarely go beyond 10s in a pucker. With that being said, this is what happened to the 10th Cinderbrew we received at the end. We crushed it. Everyone was pumping, everyone was blasting 2 chests. Now, That was just for some context, so you know why I finally got another 12 that isn't the bee-infested shithole. Dark Flame Cleft. A dungeon that is actually quite easy, but since we are relying on pucks to do the important duties in here, we are doomed. Let's take the first boss area for example. Without the proper tools, this can be a very stressful thing. A DK grip will be your best friend in here, but even if not, you can simply pull whatever you want to play and then kite them back. Keywords, line of sight. This big ass kobold will send a big area of effect that will not only knock players back, but also all enemies within. So kiting them back will ensure that they won't get knocked into the next best pack to potentially wipe your party. The truth is, the timer in this dungeon is so generous that you can just play this part slowly but surely, and you have no need to play 3 or even 4 packs at a time. Trust me. Now unfortunately my chat wasn't happy with our tank not dying, and apparently he heard them. So he did an extra special pull to make sure we're on the board. Just because he wanted to make the run slightly faster, we lost 9 lives, equal to 2 minutes 15 because it's a 12.
Quick maths.
Which essentially meant this was not an easy timer anymore.
I'll be damned.
Recently I learned how the second boss actually works, which is just a good sign on how well this boss is designed. It's not as straightforward as I thought, since you want to light up as many candles as possible, while also just extinguishing one of them. Those markers will help a lot ensuring a hive mind in this undertaking. Only blow that one out and make sure you aim the remaining ones towards nothingness. The more candles you lit up beforehand, the lesser debuff stacks you get, I think. Look, I'm not entirely sure yet, but I kinda think that's how it works. Now in the end, I got a question. How did I drop that here? It said I got hit by the winds 3 times in that fraction of a second. And I disagree.
Okay.
On the Candle King, however, I'm still unable to play it proper. And what I mean by that is, stack with the tank. Whenever the rings explode, get your ass back to the tank in order to stack the wax figures as much as possible. It makes everything easier. However, that wasn't really the issue on this fight. On 2 separate occasions, the fear went through, even though one of us always had kickoff. Funny enough, both times the same person that simply didn't kick. Full wipe, this didn't make it easier at all. So we went again with a full belief into timing this, and the bloodlust. With all that shittery, 18 deaths, and arguably the worst overall from your boy during GFC, we pulled the necessary trash onto the final boss for one more attempt. 3.5 minutes, and then we killed the boss, and we missed trash. 15 seconds overtime. Rough. Rough. In hindsight, I was pleased we didn't time this key, because the tank turned out to be a viewer, and I would have really disliked that outcome. Which brings me to a quick explanation. During stream, I asked specifically not to join. I even put that in my titles when I want to record. Well, if I don't forget it. Guess that's the risk of doing those key levels that barely have any traffic. But I never asked anyone to join. It was also that this week specifically was very dead in those key levels, probably because of the anticipation of the next patch. However, because God is real and God is good, we end up with yet another DFC 12 to rewrite the wrongs. And this time, no shittery during the first boss room. God bless mild tankling and smart decision making. Matter of fact, we played this ridiculously clean up until the Candle Gooner, and here's how insane this timer is. Look at this crap. We got 77% trash, 2 bosses down, and still easily over half the timer. Don't stress in Dark Flame Cleft, man. Just play it normally and you will time this run eventually. With that being said, Candle King became quite a shit show. Some kicks got missed, your boy didn't stack enough, which prompted way too many wax figures to spawn out. I even got stuck while I actually tried to stack up.
Oh, no.
And then the healer showed the first signs of weakness. Instantly admitting defeat, even though we easily can play this again, we just saw that. No voice. Which we didn't even need to. Look man, not a clean kill, but I take whatever I can get. Which brings us to the next part that didn't go as good as one expected. Now, let's look at the facts here. We got close to 10 minutes, one more boss on the way, and we lack 9-ish% trash. Let's also paint the picture here. We had 2 options. Either split this trash in 2, play it safe, and then probably have around 6 minutes for the boss. Or we split it by playing 3 big worms and then take those 2 onto the boss, as they don't really do much besides a dispellable bleed. And if there's only 2, it's more manageable. So we opted for option 3. Fire everything. We looted ourselves 9 deaths that were absolutely unnecessary on many ways. I'm sure the tank knew this was a bad pull as soon as he died. You can absolutely play this, no doubt. But as a tank, you put your faith into the healer, which means you put 50% of the responsibility anti-success rate for this play to work out in someone else's hand. Bad move in every situation in life. We easily could have prevented some deaths, but the healer decided to stay semi-AFK to trash talk, instead of releasing and potentially dispelling the tank every now and then. And after all of that crap, we still had an easy 5 minutes for the boss. But our healer decided to go out with the debuff, not healing himself beforehand to drop dead. No CRs available, so we had to reset. Long story short, 5 seconds overtime. Now let's analyze this quickly. Was it the tank's fault for overpulling? Yeah, absolutely. He made that decision. This went south because of that. However, was it the tank's fault for depleting? I say no. I say the healer was so keen on letting everybody know that it's the tank's fault, he refused to play. And if you refuse to play, it's griefing. I'm not even talking about the misplay on the boss, which forced us to reset. That's a mistake, it can happen. I'm purely talking about him being a grumpy muppet instead of playing the game and trying to save the situation in a group effort, like all of us were doing.